Clint, you have this concept of listening before losing. Is that right? Tell me a little bit about what that means and how you do this.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of ways to listen to people in a deal. And sometimes I know this is going to sound odd, but this day and age, you don't even need to talk with them directly sometimes to hear what people are saying.
Mm.
Glassdoor, for example, is a great place to go look at reviews. So I can listen to employees by proxy, by what they've put out there before a deal even starts. So I can understand their concerns with the company that they're currently working for, see whether or not we're going to exacerbate those concerns as we do an acquisition. We can also understand where they are through their leaders. Now, leaders often have a very different lens. They're usually active in selling their business and not passive recipients of a message that, hey, you're about to get a job offer from a company that you may or may not like, may or may not want to work for. But we can at least listen by proxy through those leaders, all before we even look at closing the deal. And then after we announce or close the deal, we can do direct listening. I like whenever we do an acquisition announcement to walk around and talk with people, just find out what's on their mind, what their
Mm.
concerns are. Some people will be really forthright and honest. Other people are more guarded, which is very much human nature. And I try to respect people where they are. The other way that we can listen is through their managers. And I'm a huge fan of stay interviews. So the idea that your critical talent is having conversations with people that they trust and they're saying, hey, this is why I do this job. This is why I work for this company. These are the things that are important to me and make me want to stick around. And then, of course, there's the classic pulse and culture surveys that a lot of firms use to listen. And the key thing with listening is that we have to then take action, right? If you tell me that I'm doing something that doesn't work for you and I continue with that behavior, then you have the right to choose how our relationship works, right? Are we still in a relationship or am I looking for relationships elsewhere? And so we do have to take action on what we're hearing where we can, but at least responding lets people know that we care, that we've heard them, that they're important to us in the context of the deal. And that makes people much more likely to stick around and continue to deliver the value post acquisition that they delivered prior to them knowing about the deal.
Yeah, I think when you talk about the taking action part and walking into the listening sessions, whatever they might be, it feels like it's important to set expectations around we may not be able to act on everything. It can be a kind of a tricky balance, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I come down to with there is that people after an acquisition announcement, and by the way, this effect often lasts for a year or more. We see
Mhm.
that in the research that it doesn't end the day that the acquirer rolls up, shares the message, and then the integration team rolls away at roughly day 100. These effects can last a while, but people are in this state of uncertainty. Like they don't
Mhm.
know what's going on. And if you think about it from a sort of a neuroscience perspective, right, there are literally parts of our brain that are wired to react to threats. And in a world of uncertainty, our brain actually perceives threats that may or may not exist. So when we let people know what's going on, when we're honest with people, when we're transparent about what's going on, often I have a conversation that's, you know what, the medical plan is what the medical plan is. Everybody's on the same benefits. Our bonus plan is what our bonus plan is. So you're going to be pulled onto our bonus program. The in office presence policy is what it is. We can at least tell people up front what their workplace expectations are going to be, what some of their total rewards are going to look like, and take those concerns off the table or allow them to make an informed decision about whether or not the free parking that they no longer have is
Mm.
worth a new job search. And some people are going to say, yeah, actually it is. That free parking was super, super important to me. Yeah, I'm going to go look for another job. And then we honor that as they're on the way out and try to provide resources for them because the rest of the team is looking how we treat those people